Hello, everyone, and welcome to our case study, How Flexential Scored a Touchdown with a Campaign Built on Digital Events and Interactive Content. I'm Tanya Venus, Vice President of Content Strategy and Services at Content for Demand. We're a content creation and strategy agency that works exclusively with B2B clients like Flexential. I'm also fortunate to work with Flexential as their content strategist. We create a lot of interactive content for our clients, and it's an important topic to discuss because, as you can see, interactive content is having a growing impact on B2B buying decisions. So with that, let's get right to the action. I'd like to introduce Courtney Gaudet, Senior Director of Content Strategy with Flexential.
Thank you, Tanya. I'm so pleased to be here with you today and to talk about all the great work we've been doing together. Flexential is an IT infrastructure provider. For those of you in the audience that are not familiar with us, we specialize in data center, colocation, cloud, and data protection solutions. So our customers are IT professionals, and they're very technically savvy and really comfortable with digital platforms. So that often means that traditional marketing mediums like direct mail, for instance, just don't cut it with these folks. So in an effort to improve engagement metrics for our content, we began experimenting with Ceros, an interactive content asset platform back in 2019 that was introduced to us by Content for Demand. And in 2019, Content for Demand built 4 Ceros assets for us, 2 ebooks and 2 infographics, a couple of which you see here on the screen, that were used in our demand gen campaigns alongside some static white papers and blogs and other content that we had produced in-house. And through the Ceros assets, we were able to get creative in our approach to the highly technical concepts that we were discussing in the content. And the use of interactivity and imagery made those concepts easier to digest and really brought an element of fun to the initiative. And at the end of those demand gen campaigns, we looked back and we realized that we were seeing 4 times as much engagement with the Ceros assets versus the static content. And that people were also staying on our website longer after viewing the interactive assets. So we were getting a 2-for-1. So moving into 2020, we knew we wanted to continue the use of Ceros as a content platform, but we also wanted to get even more creative and broaden the use case for the content beyond demand gen to include some of our corporate thought leadership, some social media plays, and PR outreach as well. In addition, we had recently relaunched our website and updated the Flexential brand, so it was imperative that we weave as much of that new imagery into the content assets as possible. And what you see here is a sneak peek of what became the American Football Cities campaign that we produced with Content for Demand. So how did we get here? Christine Callahan, who's one of my colleagues at Flexential, is a product marketing expert for our co-location business. And she and I sat down, we were riffing on some concepts about the goals for our new Ceros assets, and we wanted to tie them into this topic around edge co-location, something that's really important to our customers and to our business. And through that discussion, we were talking about the importance of location as it relates to the topic of edge co-location. And Christine reminded me that in telecommunication circles, it is common to refer to cities with dense connectivity as quote unquote NFL cities. And that's due to the overlap in the presence of network connectivity, data centers, et cetera, in these US metro areas, and the overlap that those cities also have with teams in the NFL. We loved this tie-in to our topic around Edge Colo, and we thought we could make the content assets really creative by building on that football theme, even if we couldn't use the term NFL due to copyright legalities. So we began discussing the concept with Content for Demand, and they proposed a mix of Ceros assets and static content that would meet our goal of addressing this topic at various levels of the funnel. And our teams worked together to develop and refine the messaging for the campaign by talking with subject matter experts on our side and then working with the Content for Demand team to bring the football theme to life, both in the copy, through Tanya's expertise, as well as in the creative. Tanya, did you have anything to add to the slide?
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. I just wanted to mention that an important part of working with interactive content is to take some time to talk about what type of content elements should be prepared visually and what type should actually be copied. This isn't always a discussion this in-depth doesn't always take place in static content, but it was important here because we had some constraints. We wanted to respect the NFL copyright, and then also the Flexential team wanted to be able to perhaps extend these assets at another time into another sports themed campaign. So we decided through our conversations and even through the conversations with the subject matter experts to really keep the football theme heavy in terms of visuals and label copy, and then actually use the content copy to talk about the importance and the messaging that Flexential wanted to get out about success in these cities.
So thus was born the American Football Cities campaign. And to fully accomplish our goal of expanding the use case for the assets that we were creating and to tie them more closely to our customer personas and provide readers at all levels of the funnel with content that fit top, middle, and bottom funnel of the funnel marketing activities, we designed 2 interactive Ceros assets, which Tanya just teased in what she was saying, and a short ebook that we elected not to heavily theme with the football nomenclature because we wanted it to be more technical and it was more of a bottom of the funnel asset. Nearing the end of the content creation process this spring, COVID-19 hit, and that threw a wrench in our plans. So we took this as an opportunity, and we wanted to expand the use for these Ceros assets even further by creating some regional events around the topic and the content assets. We knew we wanted the presentations used at these events to be creative, just like the infographic, ebook, and white paper. So we asked Content for Demand to build 3 Ceros presentations, one for each of the 3 cities we were targeting with our online events. On the screen now is our infographic. And this was the first content asset we created for the campaign. It was really designed as a top of the funnel asset. It includes a ton of graphics and statistics, and everything is very interactive. It focused on giving readers a high-level explanation of the importance of location when selecting an edge co-location data center, and it was really fun to use. The second asset in the campaign was an ebook, which also included some graphics, statistics, and interactivity, but it gave us more room to explain through copy the Flexential point of view around the topic of Edge Colo. Just in the way that Tanya described a few minutes ago, we focused on the football theming with our headlines and subheads, and then we left the body copy to really focus on our point of view and to dive a little more deeply into the concept that we were trying to get across. So the third Ceros asset that we created was actually a series of 3 Ciro's presentations. And they're very similarly designed, but if we look at the one for Atlanta, for instance, you'll see that we use the copy from the infographic and the ebook as the jumping off point for the presentations. And we even repurposed the ebook title as the title of our presentations and actually for the entire event series. And this repurposing was helpful from both a messaging consistency perspective, but also from a timing perspective, since we were spinning up these regional events so quickly in response to COVID and to the fact that we were canceling so many live events. So the results of these assets and presentations really scored us some extra points. And we were able to extend what originated as a demand / social / PR campaign into the addition of these regional events. And we were able to not only quickly and easily repurpose the content that we'd already created with Content for Demand, especially the content in the ebook, where we were able to quickly use that in a new way to connect with our prospects and customers in the absence of live events due to COVID. And as a bonus, we were able to tie it in with the kickoff of preseason for the NFL. So since our content assets were designed with a football theme, we decided to position the events as the lead up to preseason NFL football. And to draw attendees, we hired Tiki Barber, Marshall Falk, and DeMarcus Ware, who are some NFL legends, to follow our Flexential expert in the presentations. His portion was about a 15-minute presentation about edge co-location, and then the NFL legends took the mic and answered in an Ask Me Anything format questions from the audience that was on this live webinar event. We had a moderator and everything went really smoothly. It was a wonderful transition between the content that we designed around edge co-location and the theme of football really tied in wonderfully to the presence and the participation of these NFL legends. And in the end, the 3-event digital webinar series drew registrations from several key prospect accounts that we'd been targeting. And additionally, we were able to grow our nurture campaign list for continued outreach with the attendees from these events. So we not only got a great turnout, but we also have added a bunch of key prospect names to our nurture streams. So we loved everything about what we were seeing, from a results and just from an internal anecdotal perspective, hearing that prospects and customers that attended the events and were seeing the infographic and ebook in particular, were really enjoying the Ciro's interactivity. So after the live event videos concluded, we thought, how can we extend the life of these Ciro's presentations even further and get a little bit more out of the content investment that we've made? So we decided to go back to our Flexential presenter from those events and record him delivering the same Ciro's presentation. And it turned out to be about a 15-minute presentation video that we used in our demand gen efforts as an asset as part of the Sorry We Missed You email for anyone who had registered for the regional events or shown interest but did not attend. Additionally, we posted on our internal site his recording of the presentation alongside the presentations themselves. So essentially, we were teaching other experts in our company how to deliver the presentations about this edge topic. And we have seen that we continue to get great use, not only of the presentations, but also through the ebook and infographic and the attention that they draw to flexential.com on the thought leadership landing page that we have them living. So in all, the investment in these 6 Ceros assets and the white paper were very worthwhile, both from a revenue generation standpoint as well as a differentiation perspective, because in this, COVID time frame when so many companies are doing digital events, it's difficult to stand out in a sea of webinar invitations. And this football theme was perfectly timed. We got really, really lucky. We're thrilled with the outcome, and we're actually working with Content for Demand on a similar Ceros space campaign that we're going to launch in early 2021. So great things to say about Ceros and Content for Demand.
Well, thank you, Courtney. We hope that this presentation was helpful, and Courtney and I are happy to answer any questions you may have. Please reach us at our email, which is shown here. Thank you.